Hey, it's Mr. Estrada here, and our aim for this video is how do we multiply rational expressions. So here's a warm-up. I want you to multiply these fractions. Alright, so generally to multiply fractions, multiply top by top and bottom by bottom. So one way to multiply these fractions is to just multiply 3 by 8 and the result of that by 3. And then do the same thing for denominators. Multiply 8 by 2, and then the result of that by 5. And if you do it that way, here's how it would sound like. It would be 3 times 8, that's 24. 24 times 3 is 72. On the denominators, 8 times 2 is 16, and 16 times 5 is 80. Now you could reduce the fraction, and you could reduce it by 9. 9 goes into, excuse me, no, you're not going to reduce it by 9. I take that back. You could reduce it by 8. 8 goes into 72 9 times, and 8 goes into 80 10 times, and you get 9/10. So that's one way to do this. Let me show you another way. When you're multiplying fractions, you could cancel out like factors, top to bottom or bottom to top. So that's one of the things that you're allowed. Only when you're multiplying fractions, you could cancel out like factors, top to bottom or bottom to top. Never top to top. So I cannot cancel out the 3 and the 3. I cannot do that. I could cancel out the 8 here, the 8 here with the 8 here. So when I cancel out those 8s, now all I have to do is just multiply across. So it's just going to be 3 times 3, that's 9. And I'm just left with 2 times 5, and that's 10. And look, that was a lot quicker. You get 9/10. All right, so the aim today is how do you multiply rational expressions, algebraic expressions. Like how would you do something like this? Simply put, the rule for multiplying algebraic fractions is the same as the rule for multiplying numerical fractions. Multiply the tops, that's the numerators, and multiply the bottoms, that's your denominators. So let's look at our example here. So are you just going to go ahead and straight up multiply? No. First, with the fractional expressions, you want to factor out everything. You want to factor everything that can be factored. So let's factor 2x plus 18. That's going to factor to 2 times x plus 9. Let's factor 4x minus 8. That's going to factor to 4 times x minus 2. Let's factor x squared minus 4. That's going to factor to x minus 2 and x plus 2. Here, x to the 4th minus 6x to the 3rd minus 16x squared. Take out the greatest common factor of the 3 terms. The greatest common factor is going to be x squared. So I know this one might be a little tricky for you guys. I'm using the GCF there of the 3 terms. So I took out the x squared, and then x squared times x squared gives me x to the 4th. X squared times minus 6x, it gives me negative 6x to the 3rd, and x squared times negative 16 gives me negative 16x squared. So you factor everything that can be factored. Then you want to cancel out only bottom with top or top with bottom. That's all you want to cancel out. So, but actually there's one more thing I do have to point out. I could still factor out x squared minus 6x minus 16. That could still be factored out. So I kind of forgot about that one. So let's factor out that first. And that's going to factor out to x minus 8 and x plus 2. Now I could just bring everything else down. Okay, now I could cancel out after everything that can be factored has been factored. Oh, and I forgot to bring down the x squared there. Whoops. Okay, so this factored out to x minus 8 times x plus 2, and then I just have to also bring the x squared with it. Now I could cancel out. So what cancels out? Well, x minus 2 is going to cancel out with x minus 2. X plus 2 is going to cancel out with x plus 2. And is there anything else that I could cancel out here? No, there isn't. So after you cancel out, you're going to multiply across. So you got 2 times x plus 9 times, well, there's nothing left here, so you could just make believe there's an invisible 1 there. So you get 2 times x plus 9 on the top. And then on the bottom, you got this 4 times x squared times x minus 8. So you get 4x squared x minus 8. You don't want to distribute this, okay? You want to leave it in factored form. Okay, now reduce if necessary. So that 2 over 4 reduces to 1/2. So that 2 over 4 reduces to 1/2, and you're left with x plus 9 over 2x squared times x minus 8. And that is our final answer. We made it to the end of the video. Okay, I hope this video helps. All right, just remember, when you are going to multiply rational expressions, it's the same rule as multiplying regular fractions. Just, you want to make sure you factor everything that can be factored. Make sure you cancel out. Then you can multiply across, and then you reduce if necessary. All right, take care.